Hey,
everybody.
Welcome to Happywax TV. This is Let's Talk Horror.
Axemaster.
Someone.
Dr. Professor.
Dr. Professor.
And me.
Thanks for reminding me.
Happywax.
Yeah. And tonight we are talking cliches.
Cliches.
Horror movie cliches.
Horror.
A cliche, or cliche, is an expression, idea, or element of an artistic work which has become overused to the point of losing its original meaning or, in this case, effect. Even to the point of being trite or irritating, which definitely in this case it could be.
Absolutely.
Especially when at some earlier time it was considered meaningful or novel.
Yes.
Overused, that kind of thing. The cliche.
Mm-hmm.
Horror movie cliches. And if you watch as many horror movies as we have, you start to see them over and over.
It's funny. It's funny because when you brought this up like a long time ago, right? And then when we talked about what we're going to do this week, and like the whole time I was like, fuck, I don't know any cliche. And then, but like, there's a couple obvious ones. But then, as I thought about it all week, I was like, holy fuck! Like, I just was writing them down in my truck, and I was like, I can't believe how many there are. So, but we should toast to episode 9.
To episode 9.
What's everybody drinking tonight?
Star Wars.
I've got the Cowbell Shindig Lager.
An odorless, tasteless liquid.
In a tall can, no
And
less.
according to Dr. Professor, I've got the Reanimator green
Look at
juice.
that thing. Holy
I know.
Christ.
Well,
Is there
I
a brain
kept
floating in there?
I don't know. I kept running out last episode, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to use the big jug.
He's been thirsty since episode 8.
Yes.
I might belch because of the beer. Once I belch.
That's all good. So, you know what? This is your episode, buddy.
Okay.
So why don't you start?
If I see one more... Okay, I've got a bunch of them. This happened because we were watching Child Eater,
Okay.
which was a great flick.
Yes.
We liked the flick. We reviewed it on Happy Wax Reviews, and but something happened to me during the film. During that film, as you know, I became very agitated with all these cliches in this fucking movie. I was like, what the fuck? Come on, look at this fucking thing. Are you kidding me? Like, what year is this?
Yep.
Okay, so the very first one that I'm fucking sick and tired of seeing is. Have you guys ever been in a fucking hospital? Have you ever been in a hospital, even to visit somebody?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Have you ever seen? When you walk into that fucking hospital? Have you ever walked into a hospital that has a huge, long, empty corridor, and then down at the other end of that hallway, you see a little nurse walk by with a wheelchair or a tray of implements or a gurney of food, and then she disappears, and that's the only fucking person in the fucking hospital? It's 2018, man. I mean, people sleep in the fucking aisles of fucking hospitals. Like, people get worked on in the fucking aisles. That is a cliche of horror movies, okay? I mean, like, it's not 1940 anymore. Mm-hmm. Maybe if there was ever a hospital that was empty. I don't really know.
I've never been in one.
Holy Christ. I mean, how many more times can we see that scene in a horror movie?
Even when I was in the hospital in Thunder Bay, it was packed. Many years ago. So
because it's the only one in 400 fucking miles.
I guess, but there was lots of people in there. So,
yeah.
But no, absolutely. And I can. What movies? I mean, you can name Exorcist 3, Halloween 2.
Billions of them.
Yeah, Child Eater. I mean, I don't know. Pretty much any.
You can't even name them so more. So you can't even name them all because it's so commonplace.
Yeah.
And that's just, it just struck me. I was like,
Yep.
oh, here we go again. The empty hospital. Come on.
Yep.
Oh. Doctors do triage in hospitals in the freaking aisle, for Christ's sake. It's like MASH 4077.
Oh shit! All right.
Well, we'll move on to something a little more generic, I guess, and it's such a small thing. It's almost like in Shakespeare when there's like thunder outside. You know that there's going to be trouble coming up in the next.
Yep.
Quite, little thing. But even less dramatic than that and more irritating is the cat scare.
Oh,
when
yeah.
Out of somewhere, a cat just gives the big old meow.
Yep. Yep.
Because cats do that.
And it's supposed to give you that little jump scare. And
I believe I had that one written down.
I'm a cat person. I've had cats for years now. And, if you step on their tail, maybe
Yep.
by mistake, you might hear that sound. But I don't think it really works in horror movies the way it's intended.
Yeah, it's the most lazy version of a scare.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah. And that goes way back. that's an old one. Like,
Yeah.
I remember that from like 70s movies when I was a little guy.
Yep.
You know, so that was one of the things, and it actually annoyed me when I was a young person. I'm like, that's not scary. I'm like, that's just annoying. So
Right on.
that was one I thought I would throw in there.
Yeah, man. Okay. So I've got a few here that I have asterisks.
Just
little,
think of
little.
Yeah,
hashtags
you know
behind
those things.
asterisks.
Asterisks. Let's go with asterisks. So,
Asterisks.
anyways, I've got a couple. So this is the first one on my, and you'll probably know because I've said this to you a few times, is no matter what scenario they're in, or there's always an asshole in the group, right?
Yeah.
Like always. And it, I mean, how many movies, and it happens a lot in apocalyptic type movies, but in any movie, there's always seemed like, why, and I say this all the time, you know what I mean? Like, why don't they just get along? Try and work through it. Why does there always have to be that one guy or one woman who just fucks it for the rest of the group?
Yeah.
And I hate it. And that is why I liked Dawn of the Dead so much, because those 4 people pretty much knew what they had to do.
Work
I mean,
together.
yes, you can say Peter might have been a little bit of the leader, but he wasn't an asshole leader. He just wanted to get shit done. He wasn't a dink.
No.
He wasn't trying to overpower anybody, you know. He just, and everybody just worked and they got it done. And that really, but I can't list any movies that I can think off the top of my head, but it's like it happens so often, and it always seems to happen in like zombie flicks or apocalyptic flicks. What was the one we watched on Netflix? I can't remember, where the guy owns the house.
Yeah.
And the family lives up there, and then there was, I can't remember what it's called, but, and then there was like the group down below them that wanted to borrow food and stuff, and then they had the army guy come into the camp, and he was being a dink, and I don't know, whatever, but it kind of turned around that he wasn't actually, but you know what I mean. Whenever you have a group of people, there always has to be the one guy, even if he isn't the leader, but he's just, you know, he just ruins it for everybody, and I hate it, and he is called the asshole of the group. That is the cliche. Mr. Axe.
Okay. Yeah, it's gonna bug me what that movie was now. Goodbye World.
There it is. Goodbye World.
That was a great movie if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a cliche for you.
I'm ready.
6 friends get together, hop into their SUVs,
Yep.
drive for, a good 15 minutes of the open scene, right? Then they get to the woods.
Yep.
They get to the woods. The kids are going in the woods,
Yep.
and they walk into the woods for the next half hour or 40 minutes. They walk into the woods. Is that cliche for you?
Yeah.
Hansel and Gretel? What?
If I have to fucking watch another fucking movie where they fucking take 45 minutes to get walked into the woods, I'm gonna scream. If you're gonna make directors and producers, if you're gonna make another fucking movie about walking into the woods, in the first 5 minutes, I want to see fucking heads flying or fucking something happening or ghosts coming out of the woods or I want to see something because it's a cop out. It's a total cop out.
Yep.
Total cliche.
It is.
And then if it's a bad one, nothing happens. And it's just like an hour and a half of them walking in the woods and fucking screaming and snot coming out of their nose. And it's like, not that I shouldn't have said that because that was a good one. But, in the one case, the Blair Witch Project was really effective. But that is a huge cliche. Yeah. And it's just like,
absolutely,
crap, man. I can't take it no more.
I agree. 100%. In fact, I had that written down. Or did I?
Well, there you go.
No, maybe I didn't. But it was a good one, though.
Well, on to me, I suppose. This one, I believe no one's ever seen, ever, because I reached real deep for this one. Okay, so you got crazy psychopath like this guy, and they're running through the woods, and guess what? Your female protagonist falls down.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
The old wood trip.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't even recall if I've seen one where it looked like a convincing trip.
I know.
Every time someone falls in the woods, it just looks like they went. Oh.
How many fucking people do you know that fall when they run?
Yeah,
every movie protagonist.
I mean, maybe maybe the absolute most out of shape spaz of the fucking group or something. But
the klutziest person I know, and I know very well, does not fall when she runs.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Oh man. So yeah, that one that has always bothered me.
Yeah.
And if you see it once, maybe, but it happens in every
slasher
movie.
film.
Yeah, anytime there's any sort of a pursuit.
Yep.
Doesn't matter what it is. Long, short, someone's gonna fall.
Yeah.
Now there was one good one, and I'll cite Tucker and Dale.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Where the guy goes to trip and he trips into the wood chipper.
Wood chipper, yep.
Now that was a turn on the cliche, but aside from that, when you see these people falling down because they're scared and being chased, they're just clumsy.
Yeah.
And maybe Darwin was right.
Jesus. Absolutely.
Okay, so this is just the obvious one. I mean, this one drives me nuts, but I mean, literally, how many movies have we watched and they're trying to get away and the car won't start?
I was just thinking of that one. I was gonna
Like,
say. I wonder if
I
anybody
figured
was
one of
gonna
us
do
would
that
say
one.
it, but it's just it drives me fucking insane. Like every single movie now, I'm thinking the car won't fucking start, and it always happens, or it turns over, or it turns over like after like 15 tries. Like it's like, come on.
And you know why that is, right? Because back in the 50s and the 40s, when horror movies started getting made, cars would actually do that.
Yeah.
But these days,
It's not gonna fucking happen.
Chevrolet and Ford and General Motors, at least for the first 5 years that your warranty's on.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay, you know what? And I don't mean to take two, but since we're on cars, how many movies have we seen where they fucking flip the visor down and the keys fall? Who the fuck leaves their keys in the visor? Nobody.
Yeah.
Ever.
In the 50s they did.
Well, I guess, but this
stuff's. I think this is all like
they're still
50s
doing it.
stuff.
They're
man.
still doing it today. It's like I'm like, so what? For me, it's cars won't start. It just drives me fucking insane. But all right, I took two, but I apologize.
It's all right. It's okay. It was car related. Okay, so I've got another one, and oddly enough, it was also in the movie Child Eater, but we've seen it 100 times.
Yep.
Police response.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Maybe in the 30s, one cop car would wind its way down a long, dark road to a secluded place to look for a child that was missing with 3 cops in it, or 2 cops in it.
Yep.
And they would show up and look around with flashlights. But again, this is 2018.
Yep.
If there's a fucking kid missing,
Yep.
you got an Amber Alert. The people in fucking Vancouver know that someone's missing from Hamilton.
Your cell phones, I think, get alerted now too about the tornadoes.
I just recently got one about a missing child.
Yeah.
Right. And you're telling me there's gonna be 3 cops show up to a deserted fucking area where they think the unsub is or the suspect is. There's gonna be a fucking army of people there with dogs and flashlights and fucking machine guns. Okay.
Walk out with one flashlight, look around for left, right.
And
the kid's gone.
And then they get a hatchet in the head, or they're get cut in half with a freaking scythe or something like that. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Absolutely, it is.
It's 2018, man. Armed response.
Oh, since we're on the technology thing, and this is more for the recent films, and it's cell phone fails.
Yeah.
One of the biggest cop outs. I mean, how could Oh, I don't have any bars, and it just seems like a lazy device to say, hey, we're in a connected world, but magically you're not connected out here. Now, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, maybe, but if they pull that out anytime.
Yeah, unless you're in the mountains or something like that, they could use that. But I mean, there's cell towers everywhere.
Even then, if you're in the mountains, there's probably a resort nearby, which means that they'll have some kind of a cell phone service.
Yep.
You'd have to be really remote nowadays. Now, this is North America that we're familiar with. Other parts of the world might be different, but considering most movies are made in North America, cell phones work.
Okay, so this is another one, and I see it all the time in movies. You went back to groups of kids in the forest, but it's for any movie, whether they're in a college. It doesn't matter. Horror movies always have groups of kids. That's because they have to have the death count up, right?
Sure, yeah.
But I don't know if I'm the only one that notices this or not. But the lower there's like we always have like the main star, you know what I mean? Who's good, but then there's like the lower characters who are they're like the red shirts in Star Trek. They're gonna die. You just know it. So, but they never fight back. How many movies have I watched where they just sit there and scream, or even, you know what I mean, a guy and the killer's coming to get him, and they just stand there and let him hack him to pieces. They never, if you had a group of 8 people, right, and 7 of those people fought back, even individually, the killer would get worn down eventually, and eventually somebody would kick his ass. But nobody fucking fights back. And Friday the 13th and the Halloween movies are a classic for both that, where they just lay there, and they're not fighting, or they're not fighting back. It's like, just stab me, just cut me in half, nothing. And it's like, what the fuck? And it's like always the lower end, you know what I mean? And then you have the, you know, the main star that kicks it into high gear. But I mean, all the people, all the red shirts, they just lay there.
They're just cannon fodder.
Yeah. They just lay there and die.
Annihilated.
I'm like, what the fuck? Fight back. No, I'm just going to sit here and scream or just stand here. That's what they do. So, anyways, drives me nuts. Okay. See, and if that happened, then they would just stand there while he hacks them to pieces.
These guys, the unstoppable protagonist.
Yes.
Okay, it was cool for a few times.
Yeah.
I guess in a slasher film, you got to have a slasher, but the undying slasher, like it's like, okay, I mean, how many movies can you make about this guy that's undead?
Yeah.
Or unless you're talking about a werewolf or a vampire or some kind of ghoul.
Yeah.
That's actually dead already.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired. And like you said, I mean, if it's one guy, you know what I mean? It's like, that's the only way they can make a slasher movie anymore if they're undying, but it's such a fucking cliche. It's like the whole thing, they don't need anymore.
Yeah.
You know, we need like more originality than that,
Yeah.
I think. It's a huge cliche now.
Yeah. You can almost tell when they're going to make sequels to it, because aside from Freddy, I mean, but they did it with Michael Myers. They did it with Jason, because he was human until he came back from the grave, I think, right when Buddy stabbed him and he got electrocuted, and then he was like superhuman. And then Mike Myers, he just somehow became superhuman.
No, Jason was like drowned when he was a kid, so he was like superhuman already, right?
They don't know.
He came out of the water.
Well, his first one was the mum, but in number 2, he was just a human. He was just the guy with the. He wasn't until he got the electrocution when he came back from the dead, I think. Wasn't it? Yeah, because in the one where he wears the sack over his face, he's just a human guy. I thought it was not until Buddy from Return of the Living Dead stabbed him in the chest. Remember, he dug his grave up?
Yeah, but in the first one it was his mother, and she was...
Yeah, well, I'm not talking about his first one. I'm talking about when he became, like, superhuman and unstoppable. Because how did he die in the second one?
I can't remember, but...
Which one am I thinking about?
Technically, he was dead already, because he drowned as a kid in Crystal Lake, right? Yeah. So, I mean, he came back, and that was the big ghosty scare, was that Jason came out of the water.
I guess I need to revisit that franchise. You just watched it, too,
so
I can't even argue with you, because you already know it.
There's so many. It's just like, I can't believe I said
technically, he was dead already, because he came out of the water in the first one, and that was the scare, and then after that, he was, I mean, nothing was stopping him, right? So
True enough.
Yeah.
True enough.
So
I retract my statement.
Since it's since we're on this supernatural unstoppable, I'll just kind of add to it a bit. No matter how fast you run, you can't get away from the slow moving killer.
The walking bad guys.
I figure since we're touching on that one, might as well mention it, because I won't have to go into a whole lot more detail, because these guys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jason is walking.
Somehow they covered 5 miles in 10 minutes.
Yeah. You see these guys doing Olympic sprints
with his machete.
They're on a Segway off camera.
And this big giant dude just kind of keeps showing up behind you or beside you. Yeah. That one, once again, probably in the original adaptations of that, or iterations, it would have been pretty freaky. Yeah. But then it just became like, oh, well, this was popular, so why don't we just throw this in and we'll do this? And it's just been built into so many different characters. And, no matter, I understand the concept of, no matter how much you try to escape, they're still going to get you. Right?
Yeah.
And it's supposed to purvey that, but
Yeah.
it just becomes like, okay, yeah, the guy's running.
And if you throw a trip in there with a walk, and it's double his bad.
And
In the forest.
In the forest.
With no cell
After
phone
they've been
reception.
walking into the forest
Jesus
for 45
Christ.
fucking minutes.
It's
the
all
first guy gets
cliches.
taken out. Jeez.
All right.
So,
Maybe this whole
thanks for
horror
bringing
thing
that
is
one
going on.
It's just one big cliche.
It's just massive cliches.
Okay, so another big thing for me is, and we always say this when we watch movies, is when they don't double tap the main character when they're trying to kill it. How many? You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
God,
they
yeah.
bonk him on the head once, and then that's it, and they think he or she's dead, or you know what I mean? Like they don't double tap,
Yeah.
and they have to, and they just it's like it almost angers you when they don't do it because you know they're gonna fucking come back to life. So
The only time they'll do that is if it's a zombie movie or a vampire.
Yeah.
Where they have to.
yeah. But although it is getting better, I have seen. I can't listen. I got a horrible memory, but I can't think of the movies. But in the last couple of years, it has gotten better. Where, when they're going to kill the person, they just
Go to town.
just go to town. But I mean, up until a few years ago, it was pretty bad. So no double tap. But you have to double tap. Always double tap. Jesus. All right.
Yes. Any modern video gamer knows you
Yeah.
can't double
Exactly. Always double tap.
The hillbilly garage
Oh, yeah.
in the middle of fucking nowhere with the carcasses fucking hanging off
Yeah.
them and the fucking fried egg in a jar that looks like it's been there since 1948 and
Yeah.
fucking somebody will actually stop at this fucking gas station and this place is actually still open for fucking business in this day and age.
Yeah.
Okay? And the guy's got 4 teeth and he's like,
Yep.
yeah, he's a real proprietor that's going to keep a family business open for generations and keep those customers rolling in.
Yeah.
Got it, directors. You got that one. It's good. It's 1970, and there's still some people living like that. Okay, I refuse to. Whatever. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. Okay.
All right.
Are you going to fill your car up there? Okay, there you go.
Well, before I go to some of the more obvious ones, no, actually no, I think I will. I'm gonna go to a little bit of a different direction than this one, but the shower scene, right? Shower scenes, that was made, obviously Psycho was the thing that kind of started that, and I believe what their intention is you are, when you're in the shower, you're alone, you're fully naked, and you're the most vulnerable that you can possibly be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're doing your thing, you're, washing your hair, getting the pits, all the good stuff, and then the shower curtain rips open. I think anybody would get a startle out of that if you were in that real situation.
Right.
If you're Red Fox, you're washing your ass.
Well, you gotta get all the good bits.
Yeah.
Don't forget to wash behind the ears.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, like that, the vulnerability of it, but it's in almost, look, it's creeped outside of horror movies.
Yeah.
It's in
everything.
Yeah. Anytime there might be something where there's a crime or a murder, then you can even throw in the shower scene. But probably, made famous, registered trademark, boom, goes to Psycho for starting that off on there.
Yeah, you know what? Now that I think about it, there's a shit ton of movies that have fucking shower scenes in them.
Now, it is a good way to show some female skin.
Damn right.
So, as a film
Maybe
director,
that's one cliche we shouldn't take out of the film.
Yeah.
Sorry.
yes. Well, if we want to keep our horror movies rated PG,
Yeah. Well,
cut them.
yeah. Yeah. I don't think you'll get an R rating with a side boob. So I think you'll be all right. So. Okay. So for me, and this, did I already say this? Where there's like a really tense scene, and you've got the music, and you're on the edge of your seat, and then like the main character comes in, and it's like, it's their buddy that grabs them on the shoulder. You know what I'm talking? Like,
Yeah.
how many fucking times does that happen?
The phony grab.
Yeah. And it
That's
just,
like a cheap jump scare.
yeah,
almost.
and it's not. Yeah, it's not even a fucking good one, and it happens all the time, and it drives me nuts. So, yeah, that was the shoulder grab.
Hate those.
Don't like it.
Almost as bad as when you gotta go down into the basement.
Oh fuck. Yep.
Look down in that basement.
Yep.
It's pretty dark.
Yep.
And the light don't work.
Yep. Every friggin' time.
Every frickin' time. the light doesn't work. Because these people just don't have any light bulbs. They just,
They're conservationists.
yeah, they haven't got electricity run to their basements. It's probably going to happen a lot. Not at my house, but yeah, or your house.
Yeah.
Well,
But
there are some lights that never.
It's a super
If
hard.
the light
movie to
doesn't
say.
come on in the basement, I would just not go down there.
Yeah, and
No,
then of
thank
course
you.
you're going to go down. That's the next part. Of course you're going to go down without a flashlight or anything, or you know, they're going to go down there and see if they can feel their way around the basement.
What was that noise? I can't see anything. So I'm going to determine it by not seeing anything.
Oh shit.
Good on you.
Yep.
Good on you. Well, this one goes back. If I'm not mistaken, I remember it in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And it's when they say based on actual events.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh god.
And I think that's a great thing. Like there's in a lot of ways it's awesome, it's like, okay, it could be just the concept is based on the actual.
I was just
events,
thinking that. Yep.
Right. So we all know that to entertain, you're going to embellish a story.
Yep.
You're going to add to it because, well, maybe a little bit of stuff dripping on the walls, not all that exciting, but a whole, gallons of stuff coming down the wall might be more exciting.
Yeah. It's a cop out for directors and movie studios when they throw that in there, because then it, to make it more real. And I think that's what a lot of movies are going for now is realism.
Mm-hmm.
And it's every fucking movie's like that.
Yeah.
Based on actual events.
We should just say based on Ed Gein's crimes.
Yeah,
in 1950,
pretty much, because
whatever
that's
the hell
what
it was.
it's all
Really.
fucking-
I mean, it all goes back to him.
Like, how many people think the Texas Chainsaw Massacre actually happened
Was
when
real,
it was never even anything close to that? So you tell people that today and they don't fucking believe it. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah. So
No, it wasn't. So
I could see how it could be effective, but
Oh, yeah, well,
it's
it is.
been used.
it got me a bunch of times until I wised up to it. So,
This is just a cliche.
Yes.
Oh my.
I've been lied to again. Fuck. All right. Okay, so for me, and this drives me fucking bananas, is when you've got like killing going on around or weird happenings or just crazy shit, and then they either go to the police or they go to their friend and nobody fucking believes them. I fucking hate that. If you came to me screaming, saying, "Oh my God, Anthony killed fucking John," you know what I mean? And I'd be like, no, you're making it, or whatever. And it's like, no, I would be like, all right, let's go fucking check it out. And grab all my fucking clubs and my, you know what I mean? Like, no, not in the movies. It's like, no, go to your room, you're being crazy, or, oh, you're probably just drunk.
He
or
does
high.
have clubs for that sort of thing.
No, but I'm just, you know what I mean? And it drives me fucking insane. Like, what has to happen in these movies to make, 3/4 of the other cast believe that something's actually happened? They don't actually realize it until the killer's standing over them, or they actually walk into a room and there's like a body count of 20 people laying there. I was like, oh my God, I guess he wasn't making it up. It drives me fucking nuts. We're beyond that. If your best friend comes to you screaming that somebody just killed somebody, or there's a fucking alien spaceship on my lawn, I'm going to go see it. I'm not going to, no, I'm trying to watch Oprah. I can't, it's like, fuck.
Here, take these sleeping pills.
Yeah.
That's part of that cliche.
Oh,
Here, take these sleeping pills and go to this really secluded part of the building and just sleep for a while.
No, we're beyond
Sorry,
that now.
sort of add on to your
No,
cliche.
hey.
That's exactly what would happen.
Yeah, that's like, come on. So, but anyways, that one drives me fucking nuts. So,
Okay, so, I mean, we're not like, pugilists or fighters or anything, but if I'm going to look for something, because I hear a fucking sound outside, and I grab my shotgun, which I've done, by the way, and basically, I'm going to walk out there, okay, and I'd be like this, I'm going to walk around, and all of a sudden, the music's getting more tense, the guy's got a shotgun, and all of a sudden he hears this little, and he turns around, and his throat's cut! Oh! Well, I couldn't fucking tell with my adrenaline pumping and my fucking senses going crazy and tingling, and I'm just fucking jacked right off the fucking ground. I'm so bad, so I'm breaking out goose flesh carrying a shotgun. I couldn't fucking hear the guy 3 fucking centimeters from behind me, and then when I turn around, I get my fucking head chopped off. Are you fucking kidding me?
yep.
Give me a break. Okay? Maybe some millennial, maybe.
Happens all, yeah.
Oh, the fucking cell phone. Hey, I'm texting. I'm outside. It's really dark. Maybe that, but
Happens
okay.
all the time.
There you go.
Happens all the time.
Well, let's see. This one, I think is newer as well, on there, and it's. I don't want to say isolated to zombie flicks, but it's in that genre. But it's Kill Me Before I Turn. So you'll have like a character, a supporting character who does something
that you really like,
and you like them, and they've made a sacrifice. So and they've been fighting along.
We should dub this cliche the Peter scene.
Yeah.
They could think this is the wrong channel.
Yeah.
The Peter scene, folks. If you don't know what that means, stay tuned for more Let's Talk Horror.
Yeah. So someone who heroically does something, they get bitten or infected somehow, and because they know how terrible it is, what's going to happen? Kill me before I turn.
Mm-hmm.
So that one, it's used all the time.
Yep.
I can't really. Well, zombies, yes. I think even in one of the Alien, probably Aliens. I think the second one. I think had some things like that.
Mm-hmm.
No, that was just more of like a kill me person that was already cocooned up.
But it does happen.
But yeah, it's an iteration of.
That's a lot of cliches.
Yep.
Yeah. We've hit on quite a few. My list is starting to get thinner.
Do you want to wrap it up? Okay, I got one. You got any more? I got one more. I got a bunch, but I got to say this one. So.
What's the zinger?
Okay, so this one is it happens a lot when I find it when they're like ghost hunters or in asylums and stuff like this. There's actually two things that drive me nuts. If I hear one more person say, "What was that? What was that?" when they make a sound in the fucking, it drives me fucking insane. And especially it happens a lot with like ghost hunter style movies. Like, nobody knows what that is. It's a fucking bang. There's no need to say that. And the other thing that drives me nuts, and I find this a lot too in asylum movies when they go into these asylums or even in the forest, let's split up. Why?
It's the Scooby-Doo syndrome.
It's a proven fact. Stay fucking together.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? As soon as you split up, then you're fucked. So it's retarded, and it happens all the time. And it's like, there's a bang. What was that? Did you hear that? What was that? Of course I fucking heard it. I'm right beside you. So there's no need to say that. Let's split up. Maybe, the four of us, so we break ourselves down to two and make it easier for the killer to fucking kill us. I'm like, no, that's just stupid filmmaking 101 right there. So
Or they come back and say, "Oh, that was just your imagination."
Yeah. It's like, God, no. So anyways, okay. So let's wrap this up.
All right, then.
All right. We are, we are at the half-hour mark. So cliches, if you guys have any, and God knows there's a lot of them, leave me your list down below, or leave us your list down below, because I'm interested to see how many we missed. So I had, how many did I have? I had 20 written down. So maybe we'll do a two-parter, because there's lots of them. So, but okay, so we'll wrap this up. What's that? Yeah.
Sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but would it be a cliche if I say the exact same thing at the end of this as I always say? Actually, no, I'm going to change it up, because I usually say, what do I usually say? I don't even know.
Thanks to all the subscribers.
Oh, yeah, subscribers. Yeah, thanks to you guys. That's kind of my cliche. But I announced this last night. I'm going to start doing this probably once a week to start, because I had a great response on Facebook where I'm going to host watch parties on Happywax TV. So I don't know when I'm going to do the first one. It's going to be next week. But I think I had 20 or 30 likes between my normal channel and Happywax TV, so that's pretty good, I think. So I'm going to do one next week, and I'm not going to tell you what movie I'm going to do. That's going to be a surprise, but I'll announce it like a couple days before, just for times and stuff like that. So, but if you didn't see the post on Facebook and you're watching this and you want to be a part of Happywax TV, just go to Facebook. I'll leave a link in the description, and just ask to join, and I'll add you right away. So I'm going to start that next week. So. And again, thanks to all the new subscribers. We're over 600, so so that's awesome.
You got it in there.
Yep, banging away. So it's all good. So, but no, I really like this cliches, because there's fucking tons of them. So I understand that it has to be done to make a horror movie, but
It's
there's
almost a necessary evil.
but you know what, we've seen, and you and I have commented a lot on the few zombie movies. There's so many good stories out there that don't rely on that bullshit. So if you're trying to be cheesy and campy, I get it. But if it just happens way too much. So, but anyways, so there's our list. I don't even know how many we rhymed off there, but it was quite a bit. But leave us your list down below. And yeah, guys, until next time,
Stay scared.
Scared. That's a cliche too.